hike in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods. You look up and you see a tree out in the distance. You see a dog tied up to that tree. You can tell by looking at it, it's a domesticated dog. As you get closer to it, you want to unchain the dog and save it. But as you get close to it, the dog is angry. The dog hasn't eaten in days. So its mentality's changed. That dog has become a savage. In life, it's important for us to stay hungry. Now, hunger changes your mentality. You go from being domesticated to being a savage. Make sure you're on that seat at the table. When the devil goes to bed at night, make sure he checks under the bed for you. Stay hard. I get a lot of questions. People asking me for help. So I ask them, what have you done to help yourself? Most of them say, I've been working hard. I'm all about being your own hero, but I'm not about kissing your ass. In life, a lot of us believe that we're working much harder than we actually are. We think if we got up early for 4 days, we've earned something. You gotta drop your entitled mindset. It's dead weight. We believe we work harder than we actually have. Trust me, most of us haven't. The one thing in life you gotta realize is this. Learn to help yourself. Don't count on other people to help you. Stay hard.
I never felt that my entire life. You're almost taught that. When you're born in a happy home, it kind of comes out. I don't laugh. My dad beat the laughter out of me. When you can't read and write and you're trying to hide out in classes and please don't call on me and you're all scared and shit everywhere you go, you're nervous and you're panicked and you're stuttering and you know your whole life is that. There's not joy in that. That becomes who you are no matter how much you change. You're scarred. So people are like, my God, man, you never smile, you never do this. It's my life. It's my life. So you gotta teach yourself how to read and write and also smile and say, it's okay. A lot of things aren't like, man, why don't you do this? Like, I don't judge people. That's why I don't judge the people. Man, you don't smile, look so hard, look this. Read my book and don't forget where I came from. It's who you are. You have to undo that. And no one came down and trained me on how to be happy, how to find peace, how to do this and that. That's why I'm so glad I found it through suffering. The greater the suffer, the greater the peace I found. But you have to reflect on where you came from the dungeon of hell that I came from. I had to reflect on that to find final peace and be able to say, wow, if you die in this bed at 40 years old, I'm the happiest in the world because I did it. I pissed people off along the way. Some people don't like me, Merry Christmas, whatever. But you can finally look in the mirror and don't care what they say about you and be happy with it. I mean, it was a very scary road. A guy who was afraid of a lot of things to then find power in fear, to find power in overcoming fear, and to get to where I'm at today where there's very few things I'm really afraid of because I know how to control it. I know how to manage it. I know how to work it to my advantage now. It's something else, man. So I really challenge people to really do a live autopsy on your brain. And the reason why I talk about my childhood so much in this, because I don't want you to put a title on me. Because once you title me as a freak, you now put yourself in a position where you can be very comfortable in saying, it's just not possible for me. That's it. That's it. He's that guy. He's that special guy. Nope. And that's the thing that makes me so pissed off in this world, man. The only thing that gets me mad nowadays is that so many people die with untapped potential because they think that someone else is better than them. And they were born, not with the greatest tools. You need the ability to grind your ass into a fine powder. And when you're in that fine powder, find a way to build that back up repeatedly. And it's possible. One of the most powerful weapons I have, man, is a cookie jar. In times of need, even the hardest person forgets how badass they are. So I've been through a lot in my life. When you're going through a hard time right now, you forget all the hard you endured. So the cookie jar is a reminder that, oh, I can get through this hard time right now, but you gotta take a second or two to reach into the mental cookie jar. Let's say it's a fortune cookie. But in my mind, my mom used to buy these cookies, in the cookie jar, and there's an Oreo, Chips Ahoy, whatever. That's where I got the cookie jar from. But you gotta open up and say, okay, man, I was in 3 hell weeks, and I got through 2 of them. I was in Ranger School. I endured, I saw these beatings. My mom's soon-to-be husband got murdered. I saw a little kid's head get ran over. All these things I endured alone. I had to remind myself of the strength and the power that I have, that it's in me. It's just a reminder of how badass you are in hard times, because we just forget that bad time consumes our mind, and we forget who we are. Honestly, they have the woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left, you look to your right, and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like, if you're a female, well, she's skinny, and she doesn't work out as hard as I do, and everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow in realizing, I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline, and this is how I'm gonna run it. That's the big thing, man. And that's why it was important for me to finally realize, stop being all these fake people I used to be, stop being afraid. There was no growth until I cut myself down to nothing, to the person I really was, the real human being. And once I found out who I really was, that's when I started growing. I was trying to build on top of a lied foundation. You can't build a house on a fucked up foundation. So I had to get down to the actual mineral soil of who I was, and that's when you can start real growth. It starts to peel all those layers away, all those artificial layers away. If you're willing to suffer and go back in the grind, that internal dialogue you have with yourself when you're in misery and you're uncomfortable, it's a real, scary, unfiltered, no lying dialogue between you and yourself. And people know exactly what I'm talking about when you're in a bad spot in life and your mind is saying all kind of shit. That's who you really are. That's the real you. No Rocky Balboa moments going on up there. You're like, hey, it's around 14. Let's come on, we got this. No, it's like, I'm out of here, man. This is crazy. That's where the growth happens. When you're able to stay in that moment and talk yourself back into the suck of wherever you're going through, and you start stripping those layers away, but as you're stripping those layers away, you're building calluses in your mind. That's where the growth starts to happen, is when you have to force yourself to stay in it. You can't leave it.